Hello all, Super Earth here. Welcome to our virtual Earth Day event. We'll be getting started in just 1 minute. Hey, do you hear that? Someone, help! Mega climate cyclone! He's coming for me!
Oh, no! That's right, Super Earth! Mega cyclone!
Oh, it's disgusting! It's killing me!
You're not scared of a little stormy storm! Storm!
Don't worry, Super Earth. I've been observing from afar, and you'll make it through this storm. You have lots of people here to help you today.
Whoa, calm down. It's okay, little dudes, calm down. Don't worry, Super Earth. We got your back, bro.
Whew. I'm so glad you showed up, Silver Lining and Captain ATV team. When you all work together, you make a difference.
Yeah, and what a better way to start the 52nd anniversary of Earth Day.
Today, we come together to celebrate Earth, its precious creatures, and how we can all make a difference.
Let's head back to our Captain ATV studio to kick off the celebration.
Hi, I'm Super Earth, coming to you from the Captain ATV newsroom. Again, welcome everyone to our 2022 virtual Earth Day event. I want to say a special thank you to my friends Moonlight, Silver Lining, Dance Man Rye, and of course Captain A and Captain SySy for coming to my rescue. Today we'll be out in the field with the captains, their Captain ATV kid correspondents, and their incredible Earth Hero presenters learning about climate change and issues caused by humans like pollution. We'll also discuss how both kids and adults can make better eco-conscious decisions to help save our planet and its beautiful creatures. But first, we have a just released news story, a special edition for Earth Day. Let's go to that video footage now. Hey Captain A, hey Captain SySy, have you guys heard? I'm in a state of code red, and I need your help to save myself and all the incredible creatures living on me from the dangers of climate change.
Absolutely, Super Earth, because no one is too big
Or too small.
to help make a difference. Hi, I'm Captain A.
And I'm Captain SySy.
And I am Super Earth. Hey Captains, did you know that April 22nd is the 52nd anniversary of Earth Day?
We did! Earth Day is an incredible day dedicated to celebrating our planet Earth and to show our support for taking care of it, because we only have one planet.
And there is no Planet B!
To honor Earth Day this year, our Captain ATV correspondents went out in the field to ZooTampa to learn more about our favorite animal friends, the wonderful southern right rhino and the amazing African elephant.
Rhinos are one of my favorite animals. Their horns are made of keratin, just like our human fingernails. And they love to play in the mud, just like me.
Let's meet up now with Flowy Man, Dance Man Ride, Fantastic Row, ZooTampa Animal Ambassador Sydney, and Amari, our young rhino.
We'll learn more about the southern white rhinos and how we can help them.
Look out! I think our rhino friends are on their way!
Hello, I'm Captain A.
And I'm Captain SySy.
And we're here with
Showy Man.
Fantastic Glow.
And Dance Man Ride. Did you know that rhinos are related to the woolly mammoths that lived during the Ice Age?
Really?
Yes, they were woolly rhinos.
So cool. That reminds me. Do you all know how to tell if a rhinoceros is in the fridge?
How?
You can't shut the door!
That's funny. Do you also know that rhinos have a keen sense of smelling and hearing?
It's true. This makes up for their poor eyesight that sometimes causes them to charge at objects like trees and rocks they mistake as threats.
Do you all know how you can stop a rhino from charging?
How?
Unplug him!
Did you also know that despite their large size and amazing horns, rhinos are herbivores that graze on grass?
So cool! I heard that they can weigh up to 3 tons. That is 3 cars.
Wow, can you all guess what is as big as a rhino but weighs nothing?
What?
It's Shadow.
That's a good one. Are you guys ready to start our adventure here at Honk Your Horn Highway?
Charge that car gift shop?
Chubby Unicorn Village?
Not quite. We're at ZooTampa. Let's go behind the scenes with ZooTampa animal ambassadors to learn more about our southern white rhino friends and how we can help. Come on! SySy, the other way!
You might also see a couple tiny little ants on top of the bushes.
Fun fact that I like to tell people is that they're actually more closely related to horses, tapirs, than any other animal, which is pretty cool. So they're an odd-toed animal. So instead of being related to an elephant like most people think, or maybe even a hippo, they're more closely related to like the zebras that we have here and our tapirs in Asia.
Where do they come from and what food do they eat?
Amari specifically was born here, so our southern white rhinos are part of the species survival plan. So Amari was the product of our last male Angava and his mother Aleke, who is out on habitat right now with her little one. But the southern white rhinos can be found in Africa. The bulk of their diet is going to be coastal hay, which I have on the back of my cart that I'll give him after. They get free choice hay, meaning that it'll always be there for him. They can eat about 150 to 200 pounds of coastal hay every single day.
Wow.
What are their greatest threats and how does climate change affect it?
So the greatest threat for a white rhino out in the wild, or any rhino in general, is unfortunately going to be the human. We are their #1 threat, as rhinos are illegally hunted for their horns. But the white rhinos are social. They live in a group called a crash, so they all help to protect one another.
How can kids help at home, and what can we do to help zoos like ZooTampa continue to help take care of our rhino friends?
So one of the easiest ways you guys can help rhinos is just telling your friends about what you know, and just making sure that no one's going to participate in that illegal horn trade or support poaching. So it's super easy. If you don't do it, you're already helping your rhino friends.
We heard the southern white rhino is ranked near threatened on the endangered species list, and their population is growing. Can you tell us more about their cousin?
The northern white rhinos are not doing very well. They only have a couple that are actually left. The majority of them are female. Breeding for them is becoming a lot harder. There's been talks about doing surrogacy with embryos and sperm from the northern white rhinos and using the southern white rhinos as a surrogate, which is super exciting.
Thank you!
You guys are awesome! I love your questions.
Wow, silver white rhinos are 7,000 pounds of awesome!
Next, let's visit with Captain ATV correspondents Super E, Dark Shadow Veronica, Wolfstorm Dylan, Linkman, Wonder Bear, Animal Ambassador Christy, and Stude Love the Elephant, and learn more about the great African elephants.
I know those guys. I could never forget them.
Hi, I'm Captain A.
And I'm Captain SySy.
And we're here with
Super E,
Wonder Bear.
Linkman
Wolfstorm Dylan.
and Dark Shadow Veronica.
Hey guys, what do you get when you cross an elephant with a parrot?
What? An animal that tells you everything it remembers!
That's so funny.
Do you guys know why the elephant was afraid of the computer store?
Why?
Because they've sold the world's best mouse.
Do you guys know it's big and gray with horns?
What?
An elephant marching band.
What does Tarzan say when he sees a herd of elephants wearing sunglasses?
What?
Nothing. He doesn't recognize them.
Are we here in ZooTampa to see what I think we're gonna see?
A magical unicorn? I don't think so. My one-man alternative rock band?
That would be cool, but I don't think that's it. Captain SySy?
We're here to see the magnificent African elephant.
Let's go behind the scenes with ZooTampa animal ambassadors to learn more about them and how we can help. Come on, guys!
Stoodla is the only male elephant we have here. He is right around 30 years old. And here is going to be his big grand entrance. He does like a buzz. Oh, Tampa. Stoodla eats right around 300 pounds of food every single day. These guys are herbivores. Does anyone know what that means?
They only eat plants?
Yeah, you guys are so smart. They only eat plants. Probably the biggest question we get about Stoodla specifically are why is his tusk so short? Why do you trim his tusks? And the answer is we don't touch them. That's how he chooses to maintain them.
Come on.
Woo, boy! Yeah! Woo! Yeah!
Okay, did anyone hear him when he came down?
No.
Not really. His meat has built-in shock absorbers. So if you see when he stands, it kind of expands. It's like he's walking on his toe bones. They're called digitigrades. They're silent.
Where do they live?
So these guys live over in Africa, and Stoodla specifically came from Swaziland, which is a country in southeastern Africa.
What is a fun fact about them?
At Christmas time, we give these guys whole Christmas trees. And how much of that tree do you think he'll eat?
The entire thing.
The entire thing. Like trunk and everything. So it's a lot of fun for him, and it's also fun for us because then his poop smells like Christmas trees. The barn actually smells nice in the morning.
What are their greatest threats and how does climate change affect them?
One of their greatest threats is poaching. So illegal hunting for those tusks are made out of ivory. Another reason I would say is human-elephant conflict. So elephants eat a lot. They're looking for food. There's no wild, so they wander onto a farmer's field and they start eating the crop. So one of the things that the farmers are doing to prevent that, the elephants hate bumblebees. And it's not because of the stingers, it's because of the vibration and the frequency at which they fly, the buzz. They hate it. So farmers have been putting beehives around their crops, and elephants won't break through that line to get to the food. So it's kind of a win-win, because then they also have honey to sell, and they have natural protection, and the elephants will stay away.
How can we all help to save them?
One really easy thing you can do is talk about it, because a lot of people don't realize how desperate their need for help is, right? And if more people care and more people know, then more people will help. And right now, I think there's just a lack of information getting out there. A thing that's really easy and free that we can do is recycle. And I know that sounds really silly, but the more we can recycle, the less they'll have to go into the wild to take resources.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Oh, I love it. You guys could do the talk for me.
How can we help zoos like ZooTampa continue to help take care of our friends, the African elephants?
We're a nonprofit zoo, so every time somebody walks through the door, you're instantly putting a coconut into Stoodla's mouth. So he thanks you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome coverage, Captain ATV Correspondents!
Do you captains know what our friends, the southern white rhinos and African elephants, have in common?
I know. It's that these amazing creatures and precautions are listed on the endangered species list.
Our Captain ATV Kid Ambassador team doesn't want to see a world without them in it. And we want to share that our generation doesn't want
A world without tortoises.
A world without eagles.
A world without penguins.
A world without monkeys.
A world without orangutans.
A world without bears.
A world without giraffes.
A world without alligators.
A world without manatees.
A world without panthers.
And we don't want
A world without
humans!
I'm sad to see our rhino and elephant friends continue to face so many threats, including climate change, habitat loss, pollution, and other human dangers.
Super Earth, could you please remind our viewers how we can help save our animal friends?
Absolutely, Captains. Here are a few easy ways we can all work together to help. Visit and donate to AZA-affiliated zoos, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, who are working towards saving endangered animals around the world. Buying products with the FSC, or Forest Stewardship Council label. Buying products with the RSP label, Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil. And always use the 3 R's.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. Do us a favor and smash that like button for this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on our quest against climate change. And hit the bell to be the first one notified about our next update. If we work together, we can all make the planet a safer place for all of our animal friends and us humans.
Remember, we only have
One world, one chance, we all matter, make a difference!
Wow, the Captain ATV correspondents have me motivated to learn more. We're coming to you live from the Captain ATV studios, and I have a special guest I'd like to introduce you to. This is the magnificent Maury. She is an FLDS full-time lead instructor and a photography club leader. And she is mom to our very own Captain ATV kid correspondents, Super Jake and Wonder Jay. Today, she is also our fearless leader of the Captain ATV chat. So if you have any questions throughout our event coverage, please use the chat box and the magnificent Maury will try to answer. We have 4 special live guests today too. Each one will answer a few questions at the end of their presentations. So be sure to type in that chat box if you have any questions for them. Our first special guest speaker joining us is Roni. You may have seen her on National Geographic TV series, Secrets of the ZooTampa. She is an amazing associate curator and animal ambassador who works at ZooTampa. She has taught us so much about helping our animal friends, and we're very excited to have her speaking with us today. Let's go now to Animal Ambassador Roni out in the field to hear more about her work at ZooTampa. And be sure to use that Zoom chat if you have any questions for her to answer after.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roni, and I'm the Associate Curator of our Ambassador area here at ZooTampa. And I am joined by one of our favorite animal ambassadors, Pumpkin. Pumpkin here is a Woma python, and they're actually severely endangered in certain parts of Australia. Now, there is no planet B, and our Earth is the only one that we have. So while the world celebrates Earth Day for this particular day, I want to encourage everyone to celebrate Earth Day every single day. Now, Earth Day was first brought to our attention in 1970, and since then we have made a lot of strides in protecting our environment and the animals that call it home, especially here at ZooTampa. I want to instill all of those things to not only my personal son, but also to all the kiddos in this world as well. They are our next generation. Now, some things that you guys can absolutely do to remember the 4 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle, and most importantly, refuse. So refusing single-use straws, refusing single-use plastics, making sure that we're being mindful of all of the things that we use on a daily basis. You can do different things like biking to work or school, if it's safe, of course. Plant a tree or a bush to give the world oxygen. Pick up something like a park. Do a trash run on a beach. Anywhere that you are mindful of what our environment is being impacted with, make sure that we pick up those different things and keep our minds set on preserving our communities, the places that our animals call home, and most importantly, our environment. Thank you so much for joining me today on this very special Earth Day.
Wow, thank you so much, Animal Ambassador Roni. I learned so much. And I see you have our youngest ambassador joining us today, 9-month-old baby Ambassador Lawson. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Wow.
It looks somebody wanted to join us also. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. That was me, doing what I do throughout the week, every single day. This is my day off, and I get to spend it with this guy right here. Like I was saying in my video, they are our next generation, and I want him to be able to see so many different species that call, this earth home throughout his lifetime as well. And unfortunately, there are so many species that are facing a lot of struggles in their natural habitat. So what I do at ZooTampa, I'm the associate curator of our ambassador department. And one of the things that I love most about my job is inspiring little ones, even as young as this guy right here, but just getting them up close and personal with an animal that they may have actually never even seen before or have the ability to see, because the animal is native to Central or South America, or maybe native to Africa, or some place that they may not have the opportunity to ever go to in their life. You have something to say about that? Yeah. So that's my biggest plight, is to really just inspire people to make them care for the world that we all share. So here at ZooTampa, we partner with many organizations all over the world that help especially endangered species and species that are threatening populations in the wild. A couple of those are SANCOB, which is the Southern African Foundation for Conservation of Coastal Birds. So if you guys are ever at the zoo and you see our African penguins, that is the direct conservation effort that we as ZooTampa support. So we not only want to take care of all of the animals that call ZooTampa home, but we want to really reach the entire world and have an effort in these populations in the wild. So we're a part of the International Rhino Foundation. We support Macaw Recovery Network, which is in Costa Rica. The Macaw Recovery Network is kind of a huge part has a huge part of my heart. If you guys have ever been to ZooTampa, you will have seen the macaw flyover, which is something that me and my team do every single day for our zoo guests. So the Macaw Recovery Network is based in Costa Rica. And what they're having to do is actually make artificial nests for macaw families that are facing habitat destruction. So another one that we really support is the Pet Trafficking Alliance. And that was kind of one of the ones that I wanted to really focus on during this presentation, because I know a lot of our viewers are young and they might be getting their first pet potentially. And a lot of people will go potentially into a pet store or maybe not know about a rescue or a shelter or facility that they want to get their pet from. A lot of animals, including macaws, things like snakes, tarantulas, all different types of pets like that, are actually being affected by the illegal pet trade. So I want you guys, if you're ever wanting to add a member of your family to really do your research as to what is needed for each individual species. So say, for example, macaws are brightly colored, they're beautiful birds. However, these guys can actually live well into their 70s, 80s, even 90s. So they take a lot of care. They're very loud. They need a specific diet, things that my team and I are all well versed in and able to do at ZooTampa with our resources. But it can be very difficult to bring an animal like that into your family home. So please do your research, even if it's a animal like a tarantula or a snake. Tarantulas a lot of times are taken in mass numbers from their natural habitat in order to go into the illegal pet trade. And those numbers are severely declining and being affected in the wild. For example, tarantula males can live about 5 to 8 years, but females can live into their 20s and even 30s. So again, just be aware of that when you're wanting to bring a family member into your home. I could talk forever about all the animals in our ambassador area, much less in that is called ZooTampa home. I always say that every single animal at ZooTampa is an ambassador for their species, but not every animal has the blessed life to be in the ambassador department, but I'm a little biased when it comes to that. So I just want to encourage you guys, like you were saying earlier, to remember the 4 R's, like I mentioned in my video. One of the biggest things that a lot of people forget is reducing, reusing, recycling, but also refusing. So when you go to a restaurant or a park, you can just refuse your straw. Because if they give it to you, they do have to throw that away, and that ends up in our trash can. So just try to remember that. Refusing single-use plastics is a huge one. Refusing plastic bags when you go to the grocery store. All of those things can be recycled, but it's much easier to refuse them from the start. So I'm going to pop into our questions, I believe, and see if anyone has.
All right, so let's see, Ryan. We've got, I think, Magnificent Maury. Do we have a question or two for Roni over at ZooTampa?
Hello there. Yes, we do. Our first question is, what can kids do if they want to work for the zoo when they grow up?
That's such a great question. So unfortunately, by law, they do have to be 18 in order to work at ZooTampa or many other zoos and facilities around the country. But what they can do up until that age is volunteering places. So ZooTampa does have a volunteer program. However, you do have to be a little bit older. But if younger kids want to volunteer, even things like a animal shelter or conservation society, a beach cleanup, all of those things that you can do even just by yourself is a huge effort in what we support in our mission. So our mission at ZooTampa is to rescue, rehabilitate. So believe it or not, especially kids living here in Florida, one of the biggest things that they can do is be an advocate for wildlife. So if they see an injured manatee, or if they see an injured pelican or bird, they can know who to call. And you would call FWC or Florida Fish and Wildlife. And ZooTampa works very closely with them to rescue a lot of our Florida native species.
All right, I think we might have time for one more, Magnificent Maury.
All right, we have. So how do you handle the snake so carefully without biting you?
That's a great question. So every animal with a mouth can bite. That's one of my favorite questions that I get at a zoo is, oh, can it bite? Of course it can, just like you and I have mouths and we can bite too, right? But all of our animals at ZooTampa have a choice. So we work very, very closely with them, building our relationship, even if it's with a snake. So for example, Pumpkin, when I went into his habitat, and I stroked him nice and gentle. And I said, I saw if he wanted to come out or not. And if a snake is showing us signs that it can be uncomfortable, or maybe we woke it up from a nap and it's not too happy, then they don't have to come out with us. So they actually have a choice to come out voluntarily out of their habitat, and then we're able to handle them. So they absolutely can bite, but we work really, really closely with them and build that relationship with them.
Well, we'll make sure that you handle those guys, and we'll stay on this side of it. I know that the Captain ATV team has experienced lots of visits out at ZooTampa, and we so appreciate the work that you and your entire team does at ZooTampa. So thank you so much. And thank you and Baby Ambassador Lawson for spending time with us today. So see you next time. We appreciate your time, Roni. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.
All right. Next, we have a very special guest message from someone you may have watched on YouTube or TV at some point. He is known to go to some extreme lengths to get up close and personal with some of our favorite animal and insect friends. He is the host of Animal Planet's Coyote Peterson, Brave the Wild, and his popular YouTube channel, Brave Wilderness. Let's hear from Mr. Coyote Peterson.
Hey Captain ATV, what's going on? It's Coyote Peterson here from Brave Wilderness and also Animal Planet's Brave the Wild. Great job showing up to learn about climate change and the plight of endangered animals. Fia told me that there's something important that you must know. Remember, we only have one world, one chance, we all matter and make a difference. So keep up all the good work and stay tuned to Brave Wilderness. We've got some pretty crazy stuff in the works, including an episode that features rhinoceros conservation that we filmed in South Africa, where we will see both the black and the white rhino and talk about how we can preserve these animals moving forward into the future. But keep up all the great work that you're doing. You've got all my support, well wishes, and remember, be brave, stay wild, and we'll see you on the next adventure. Bye, Captain ATV.
All right, so next we're going to go to our captains and co-hosts who found their passions to make a difference, saving our planet and all the endangered animals while attending Florida's Virtual Schools Flex program and OZA accredited zoos like ZooTampa. This is Captain A. He's a 5th grader at FLBS Flex Elementary. His favorite animal is an Asian tiger, and in his spare time, he loves learning about the way of the Jedi and clone trooper training. He is a published photographer in Australia Zoo's Crikey magazine, and he is most passionate about photography and capturing rare moments with animals. He wants to use his photography art to bring awareness to our planet, climate change, and the plight of endangered animals. Next, we have Captain SySy. He's a 4th grader at FLBS Flex Elementary, and his favorite animal is the African painted dog. He loves singing, playing guitar, and drawing. He also enjoys learning about world history and is considered a World War II historian by many. Captain SySy wants to help save our planet and all of her creatures. So now let's toss it to the captains and learn more about climate change and the effects on our planet.
Thank you, Super Earth. Hi, everyone. Do you know why the orangutan had to go to the doctor?
Why?
Because the banana wasn't peeling very well.
Orangey, hey, get out of the shop. Stop stealing my bananas. Hey, Orangey, get out.
I love orangutans.
Me too. Did you know we share 97% of our DNA with them?
Wow, we're a lot like us humans.
We wouldn't want to go extinct, and we shouldn't want them to either. Hey, everyone here, do you want to see a world with bees,
Tigers,
orangutans,
polar bears,
manatees?
Yes, we do! Then we must do a better job of taking care of them, because humans are not the only ones in danger from climate change.
All these animals are on the critically endangered species list, and climate change is a huge factor in this. They are too important to our ecosystem to let go extinct.
Everyone, do we need to make sure all of us and our leaders are saving our planet from
deforestation,
pollution,
polar caps melting,
microplastics,
red tide?
Yes, we do! Captain A, these are all climate change issues. Can you please explain more about what climate change is?
Sure, Captain SySy. Climate change caused by global warming is due to too many greenhouse gases, like carbon dioxide and methane, trapping the heat from the sun and Earth's atmosphere. This is called the greenhouse effect.
Oh, God, it's getting hot in here. Ah. It's getting hot in here. It's getting hot in here.
It's good to have the sun keep Earth warm so that all living things can grow, but too many greenhouse gases cause the heat from the sun to get trapped in Earth's atmosphere, making it too warm. Burning fossil fuels for electricity, heat, and cars help create those gases. As a result, we get smog, air pollution, and breathing issues. Even our landfills, where we send our trash, create over 148 tons of greenhouse gas.
Us humans can help though. For example, we can turn off the lights in the house when we're not using them, buy LED light bulbs, use solar power, compost, recycle as much waste as possible, and stop using single-use plastic grocery bags. One of my favorite animals that lives in my home state is the Florida manatee. Did you know their nickname is the sea cow? That is because they spend up to 8 hours a day grazing on seagrass.
Wow, did you know our Florida manatees are greatly affected by red tide?
It's true. Harmful fertilizer-rich water from farms runs into our ocean, creating worse outbreaks of red tide.
Red tide is a harmful algae bloom that poisons the marine life. Did you also know that our Florida manatees are starving due to their seagrass food source disappearing?
I didn't know that. Over 1,100 Florida manatees died last year due to septic tank and agriculture runoff. Captain A, how can we help make a difference to save the manatees and other precious creatures of the world?
A great way everyone, big or small, can help is by asking the leaders of our world to keep the planet safe. If you have an idea that can help, take action. Ask your friends to join you in spreading awareness.
Like if you want your congressman to vote for bills that help prevent the manatees from starving.
So start a petition or write a letter to get your idea heard.
Then ask a parent for help to share the idea with your local leaders.
No one is too big
or too small
to help make a difference. Back to you now, Super Earth. Super Earth?
Super? Are you there?
Oh, sorry, Captains. I was getting a head start on my letter to the president. Thanks for the great advice. Well, thanks, Captains. I'm learning so much today. Next, let's go out in the field with our Captain ATV Kid Correspondents. They'll talk more about how you can help save our planet and all of our magnificent animal friends by purchasing items with eco-conscious labels, using the 3 R's and more. Let's check in with our first field correspondent. First up, we have the mighty Joey Man. Joey Man's hobbies include gardening, photography, basketball, and dancing. He wants to help save our animals and he wants to help save our planet because it's a nice place. He doesn't like seeing trash around it. He's going to talk about how we can all reduce more to help save our planet. Take it away, Joey Man.
I'm Captain ATV Correspondent Joey Man, talking about reducing. I reduce by using styrofoam coolers as planters. I also use empty milk jugs and fill up from my rain barrel so I can water my plant. I also use refillable water bottles instead of buying plastic water bottles. Back to you in the Captain ATV studios.
Great job, Joey, man. Next, we have wonderful Wolfstorm Dylan and Dark Shadow Veronica. Dark Shadow Veronica's hobbies include taekwondo, crafting, and playing piano, and she wants to help our ocean stay clean for our marine life. Wolfstorm's Dylan's hobbies include taekwondo, Legos, and dancing. She wants to help keep our planet clean by planting more plants and gardens. They're going to talk about how we can all reuse more at home to help make a difference. Take it away, Dark Shadow Veronica and Wolfstorm Dylan.
Hi, I'm Captain ATV Correspondent Dark Shadow Veronica, and today I'm here with
Wolfstorm Dylan.
What are we going to be talking about today, Wolfstorm Dylan?
We are going to be talking about one of the 3 R's, reuse. Here's a great example. When you go to the grocery store, make sure to take your reusable bags so you can reuse them anytime, anywhere.
Another example is don't use these water bottles because they are really bad for the earth. Use these water bottles because you can refill and reuse them anytime.
Back to Captain ATV Studios.
Awesome, ladies. Thank you very much. Next, we have the super brother duo of Fantastic Ro and Dance Man Rye. Fantastic Ro loves gaming, coding, and the outdoors. He thinks it's important to take care of our ecosystem because he wants to help the planet survive and thrive. Dance Man Rye loves taking karate, dancing, and listening to music. He wants to help keep animals safe from harm. They're going to talk about how we can all recycle more to take care of Mother Earth. Take it away, Fantastic Ro and Dance Man Rye.
That's the wrong bin. That's the wrong bin.
Wait a minute.
Phew! Oh, that's the wrong bin.
Hold on a minute.
Hey, buddy, up here. Hasta la vista, baby.
Hi, I'm Fantastic Ro.
And this is Dance Man Rye. We're here to talk about recycling.
Hey Riker, did you know that we produce more trash in the US than anywhere else in the world?
Wow, really?
Yes, there are about 2,000 landfills in the United States.
That sounds stinky.
By recycling, we can help keep trash out of landfills and also cut down on pollution.
Okay, but how can we help?
One of the easiest ways to help is by putting trash in its proper bin, like cardboard, bottles, and glass.
We all know what happens when you put the trash in the wrong bin.
Cardboard, boxes, cans, and plastic should be separated from the regular trash. That way, they can be recycled properly.
Okay, that sounds easy.
Every time you throw your trash in the proper bin, you help the environment and help prevent climate change.
Do your part to help our planet.
Because there is no planet B. Back to you, Captain A and Captain SySy.
Oh, I am so glad that Dance Man Rye is on Super Earth side. All right, next we have the powerhouse of Super Jake and Wonder Jay. Super Jake enjoys playing baseball, tennis, soccer, and Legos. He thinks we should set a good example and not throw trash on the floor. He also feels we shouldn't hurt our trees because they help us breathe, and we should be good to nature because she's good to us. Wonder Jay loves playing tennis, swimming, playing with friends, and being with family. She says the earth needs your help so we don't hurt our animals. They're going to share how we can all purchase products with the Rainforest Alliance label to help make a difference. Take it away, Super Jake and Wonder Jay.
Hello, I am Captain ATV's correspondent, Super J. Hi, my name is Wonder J, and we are from Miami, Florida. Today, we want to share with you the importance of the Rainforest Alliance label. What is the Rainforest Alliance label, Super Jake? Good question, Wonder J. This is the Rainforest Alliance label. This label can be found in many products found at your local supermarket. This label means that the product or ingredients was produced by farmers, foresters, and or companies working together to create a world where people and nature thrive in harmony. Here are some produced with the labels: chocolate, tea, and coffee, and more chocolate. I encourage you to find the frog and help to protect our world. Remember, there is no planet B. Thank you. Now back to the Captain ATV studio.
Oh, Super Earth loves chocolate, so that's good that it has that label. Next, we have the stupendous Super E. Super E loves music, mixed martial arts, and exploring. She feels there are many ways we can help our Earth, and we should use them all. Super E is going to share how we can look for products with a sustainable palm oil label to protect our planet and animal friends. Hey, Super E, take it away.
Hi, this is Captain ATV Correspondent Super E, and I'm here to talk to you about palm oil. Palm oil is an edible vegetable oil that comes from the fruit of palm oil trees. Palm oil is used in nearly everything. Close to 50% of our packaged products we find at supermarkets. There is one major concern though. The palm oil industry is a huge driver in deforestation, destroying the homes of endangered species such as the orangutans or the pygmy elephant and the hairy rhino. The solution is the Round Table of Sustainable Palm Oil, also known as the RSPO. The RSPO started in 2004 by the WWF when they pulled 16 representatives together to form the RSPO. The RSPO sets standards for palm oil companies. Products that meet the RSPO standards can use this label. Look for products with that label. Help keep our animal friends safe. Now over to you, Captain ATV Studios.
Hey, great job, Super E. Next, we have the terrific team of Peyton the Protector and Turbo Parker. Peyton the Protector's hobbies include playing volleyball, reading, and listening to music. She wants to save the planet to improve how people love and save the lives of animals. Turbo Parker's hobbies include playing baseball, basketball, listening to music, playing the ukulele and drums. He wants to save the planet so there won't be litter all over the place. They're going to share how we can all purchase products with the FSC label to save our planet. Take it away, Peyton the Protector and Turbo Parker.
Hi, this is Captain A TV Correspondents Peyton the Protector
and Turbo Parker. We are here to talk about the Forest Stewardship Council.
Wow, that is a mouthful. Let's call it the FSC for short. The FSC is the original pioneers of forest certification.
They have been around for 25 years. That's a long time protecting our forests and the wildlife that lives there.
Their mission is to promote responsible management of the world's forests.
FSC labels are found on millions of products around the world, from toilet paper to books.
You can also find the labels on food products and furniture.
Every time you choose a product with FSC label, you're helping take care of the world's forests.
Now over to the Captain ATV Studios.
Another great label to look for. All right, next up, we have the amazing Astro Chris. He enjoys doing space research, creating art, gaming, and saving planet Earth. Chris is committing to educating, advocating, and inspiring change for the benefit of our planet Earth and beyond. He is going to now share how we can use alternative energy as a way to help leave a smaller footprint and save our planet. Take it away, Astro Chris.
Hello, Astro Christopher here, future astronaut and Captain ATV correspondent. While I am passionate about the health of our waterways and all of the biodiversity within, today we are going to discuss alternative power sources. Climate change and pollution are global concerns that are adversely impacting our planet. As we shift away from fossil fuels to curb the impacts of global warming, we are moving towards alternative sources of power. You may hear about fossil fuels and big wind farms, and you may be thinking that these are all giant issues involving big corporations. You may be asking yourself, what can I do about this global problem? Well, guess what? Every day, you have the opportunity to make choices in your life that can help move us all forward in a sustainable manner when it comes to alternative power solutions. If you can choose solar power and find ways to use the wind in your everyday life, or if you ride your skateboard or bike to places, that's what I do when I can, and it happens to be so much fun. Last but not least, pay attention to local issues around you. Engage in community conversations around adopting sustainable and alternative energy sources. Educate yourself and advocate for policies that adopt solar, wind, and hydroelectric power sources. You can advocate for solar solutions in schools. Our planet offers countless sources for alternative solutions, and we all have the power to lead where we are. The actions that you take are part of a larger picture. What we do individually contributes to collective solutions that will save our home, planet Earth. Astro Christopher out. Back to the Captain ATV studio.
Thanks, Astro Chris. Next, we have the incredible Linkman and Wonder Bear siblings. Linkman's hobbies include Minecraft, Legos, piano, violin, let me take a breath, surfing, computer coding, and more Minecraft. He wants to be a park ranger and needs to protect the earth to accomplish his goal. Wonder Bear's hobbies include surfing, violin, piano, guitar, helping animals, and dreaming of Paris. I mean, who doesn't? She would like to save all animals and the planet they live on, Earth, me, because that means more friends for her. They're going to discuss how we can compost from our very own homes to make a difference. Take it away, Linkman and Wonder Bear.
Hi, this is Captain ATV correspondent Linkman
and Wonder Bear here for a special Earth Day report. We believed in doing our best and reduce, reuse, and recycle. We wanted to step it up.
So Captain and Captain SySy suggested we check out composting.
So we did, literally.
What Wonder Bear means is we went to our local library and we checked out books on composting so we could read them and share our information with you.
We both found really good reasons we wanted to start doing it. Mine was to reduce garbage in landfills because they, again, literally stink.
And mine is because composting is so conducive to having your own garden. Composting adds nutrients to vegetables and makes them taste better.
Well, that's great news. Vegetables can use all the help they can get.
Another reason why we love to compost is
it's easy. Oh, and it's not poop.
Exactly. That's fertilizer. This is better, I think.
Earth is a giant composting machine. Humans can help.
So let me break this down for you.
Lane, is that supposed to be a composting joke?
Don't you mean a composting yoke? What we do is keep a small sealable container in the kitchen for everyday food waste and larger container outside that we layer with a simple formula of greens,
nitrogen,
and browns.
Carbon. We have a big pile in our backyard of lawn waste and like pumpkins that got squishy.
It's been a lot of fun and helps us reduce, reuse, and recycle more.
We want everyone to try it.
Now over to the Captain ATV studios.
That is something we'll have to try more for sure. Thanks, guys. Last but definitely not least, we have our youngest Captain A TV correspondent, Courageous C. He loves to play soccer and run around with friends. He loves to read and always checks out books about animals and their habitats. He is here to deliver a very important message. So take it away, Courageous C.
Oh, planet B. There's no planet B. There's no planet B. No planet B. There's no planet B. There's no planet B. There's no planet B. There's no planet B.
All right, if you couldn't figure it out, there is no planet B. All right, so, wow, you change makers, you've done such an amazing job today. So for that, we have a special message just for you and all of our viewers. This one comes from Disney zombie star Kylee Russell. You might know her as Eliza, Zed the zombie's best friend. Stay tuned, here she comes. Let's hear from Kylee now.
Hi, Captain ATV Kid Changemakers. It's Kylee, your zombie bestie Eliza, so you guys know that zombies fight injustices. I just want to say I'm so proud of you guys for caring about our planet Earth and animals. Remember, we only have one world, one chance, we all matter, make a difference. Love you. Mwah.
Super Earth, you're on mute.
All right, let's try that again. See, I got halfway through your intro and nobody even knew who you were. All right, so we're back. Our next presenter joins us all the way from Ohio. With us, we have Amanda Schuster, Program Manager for the Conservancy for the Cuyahoga Valley National Park in Ohio. Their mission is to support the National Park Service and the park by creating fun and engaging programs for visitors, the educational experiences for kids, and volunteer opportunities for the community. They also help the park through conservation of the trails and restoration of the river. The best part is you don't even have to live in Ohio to participate in some of their programs. They have a free Every Kid program that you can register for, and even programs for adults where they will explore crucial impact connecting with nature has on humankind. Let's go now to Amanda out in the field to hear more about the national parks and how we can help their conservancy efforts. And be sure to use the Zoom chat if you have any questions for Amanda. We'll try to answer a few after she speaks. Take it away, Amanda.
Thanks, Super Earth. Well, let me just say hello, hola, and happy Earth Day to everybody gathered here for this event. I'm Amanda Schuster, and I'm the program manager at the Conservancy for Cuyahoga Valley National Park. That means that my job day to day is to work with kids, adults, and learners of all ages to have great experiences in our national park. I am joining you from Ohio, and I'm just really happy to be here. Thank you so much for the captains for inviting me back. It's my second year, and looking forward to sharing a little bit more about national parks and Cuyahoga Valley today. So just want to tell you what I'm going to cover. I'm going to teach you a little bit about national parks. So we're going to talk about what national parks are, learn a little bit more about those. We're going to hear the Cuyahoga story. So that's long name, the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, where I work, has a unique story that ties into Earth Day. So we'll learn a little bit about that, and then I'll answer some questions at the end. So I also had to say, I was really excited to hear Linkman mention that they maybe want to be a park ranger when they grow up. And I'll say, I wholly encourage you to do that, Linkman. And I think a really great way to start would be becoming a junior ranger of a national park in your home state. So if you're in Florida, you've got 3 national parks and many other national seashores and other National Park Service sites. So check those out, become a junior ranger. When you get old enough, you can volunteer. There are all kinds of jobs in the National Park Service, from coding, right? Like working in IT, to working out in the field, planting trees and taking care of the environment, to being a teacher in the national park. We even have jobs in law enforcement and in offices. So there's really something for everybody. So it's a great career goal, and it's a really great path to take as you figure out what you're going to do in your future. All right. So the first thing, what I say, we're going to learn about national parks. So I have this, now this is on the screen. I'm going to show it here a little bit bigger. This is the National Park Service logo. And I just want to point out a couple things because it gives you some hints to what national parks are all about. So we've got this little shape here, and you can put in the chat, what do we think this little shape here at the bottom of the logo might be symbolizing? Anybody have any guesses? You can put them in the chat and I'll call them out if you see them. What do we think this is? Olivia said an ox. Dan, we got a guess of a buffalo, a bison. Yeah, great guesses. So it actually is a bison, and this symbolizes all the different types of animals that the National Park Service protects. All right, here we have this something here. Any guesses as to what this might be?
Vipers.
You can put them in the chat and I will check out those answers. What do we think this might be? Somebody said a tree. Somebody said specifically an oak tree. Yeah, it's a tree, and it's specifically, it's supposed to symbolize a sequoia tree. And this symbolizes all of the different types of plants and vegetation that the Park Service protects. Over here, what do we think this graphic, this is supposed to represent back here? Mountains, yeah, I got it. Captains and Olivia and Eli and Elizabeth. Yes, this is supposed to be a mountain and show you the different types of landscapes and really unique geological formations that the Park Service protects. And finally, if you could see, well, not finally, there's one more, but this is kind of a difficult one to see, but we see, oh, a lake. All right, great, captains, great job. Livia, Sophia, thank you for your answers. Yes, this shows you a little bit about the waterways that the National Park Service protects. All right, now finally, the whole shape of this whole logo. This one's a little bit of a trick. An arrowhead, Sophia, on it. Nice, using the noodle tonight. This is an arrowhead, and this shape symbolizes the cultural and historical perspectives and stories that the National Park Service preserves. So all of these things together are all of the different things that the Park Service preserves, and all the different national park sites have those different stories about what they're protecting and preserving. So just a couple ideas. I'm going to ask you this. How about this? Let's put a 1 in the chat. Just type a 1 if you have ever been to a national park, any national park, and put a 2 in the chat if you have never been to a national park. Okay, seeing some 1s. Great. Thanks everybody for participating. You're doing a great job being a nice learning community tonight. Oh, Dan said, number 1, we love to visit the national parks. Awesome. Awesome. We got a couple 2s. That's great. You know what? There are 423 different national park sites all across our country. So that includes not only national parks, but also the national monuments, national battlefields, national seashores. You know, there's some that we might not think about. Like there was a house where somebody who had a dream, right? Who was instrumental in the civil rights movement. Anybody know who that is? Put it in the chat. This person had a dream. They were instrumental in the MLK. Great. MLK's house is actually a National Park Service site. How about there's a lady, she stands like this. She has a book. She has a torch. New York Harbor, looking pretty green. Any ideas what that might be? I'm doing an impression of a national park. Liberty, Olivia, almost there. Lady Liberty, great. Statue of Liberty. Thanks everybody for participating. that statue, that monument is a National Park Service site too. So we have all these different types of sites, 423 of them all across the country that tell these different stories shown here in the logo of our cultural and historical heritage as a nation, as well as the different natural features that we might be preserving and protecting. So all of these parks have their own stories. And I said this word a couple times, Cuyahoga. It's a mouthful. It's in Ohio, and Cuyahoga Valley National Park played a big role in kind of what we're doing here tonight, right? Celebrating Earth Day. So the environmental movement that kind of happened starting back in the late 70s really was sparked by some things that happened in Cuyahoga Valley. So I'm really excited to share that with you and to give you a little bit of that story. So Super Earth, I got a video. Can you cue it up for me? I'm going to try to do this. And I did it last year, and I'm going to try to do it this year, but it's been a long week. I'm going to try my best to tell you the story of the Cuyahoga Valley in 2 minutes or less. Send me those good vibes. Give me those thumbs up. I'm going to try to do this. All right. Hopefully we can make it happen. Y'all ready to hear the story of the Cuyahoga in 2 minutes? Oh, here we go. Okay. I work for the Conservancy for Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Here's some of my friends out on the overlook in the national park. Cuyahoga Valley National Park in Ohio features historical elements. We celebrate the canal history in the Ohio area, the Ohio Area Canal, as well as these beautiful geologic features such as the Virginia Kendall Ledges here in the picture. We even have a scenic railroad that runs through the park that you can take and visit. Lots of kids spend time in our national park learning and having a great time, but it wasn't always the paradise that it is today. Back in the 50s and 60s, especially, the river was so polluted that there was actually no dissolved oxygen. There was so much litter and pollution that the river caught on fire. Not once, not twice, but 13 times that we know of. Thankfully, we had local heroes like Mayor Carl Stokes that helped create the Clean Water Act, the Environmental Protection Agency, and empower people to get out, clean up the river, clean up all of the pollution, and establish the Cuyahoga Valley National Park in 1974. Today, kids just like you come out to our national park, find animals, test the water, and keep track of the health of our river to make sure that we are restoring it to the beautiful place that it once was. Today, the Cuyahoga River is healthy. There are lots of different animals that live there. It's a beautiful habitat that lots of creatures call home, like little frogs, different amphibians. We've got red-spotted newts and other listed species that are good indicator species. Blue herons have returned as the river has recovered. And a lot of this is thanks to kids just like you that have helped us along the way, not only in cleaning the river, restoring the habitat, but being those community scientists, getting out there, testing the water, and helping us restore the river. Did I do it? Yay! The Cuyahoga story in 2 minutes or less. Now, there are a lot more chapters to this story, and I want to mention that before the Park Service, before the canal going way, way back, the lands of the Cuyahoga Valley belonged to prehistoric peoples and American Indians represented by tribes in the Lenape Nation, amongst others. So the story goes back and back and back and back. And guess who gets to write the next chapter? You do. So kids like you, the next generation, you get to be the authors of the next chapter of the Cuyahoga story. How are we going to write that story? By being good stewards, by using some of the things that we learned tonight, by using some of the tools and techniques that our correspondents taught us about, by respecting and helping wildlife, like Roni told us about, right? So these are all ways that you can write the next chapter of the Cuyahoga story. Now, does anybody have any questions for me about parks, about the Cuyahoga Valley, or really just about anything? I'm here at my house. It's right outside of the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Got a dog running around. Any questions at all? I will take them.
Hey, Magnificent Maury, do we have a couple questions for Miss Amanda by any chance?
We sure do. So the first question is, what is your favorite part of your job?
Oh my gosh. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say that my favorite part of the job is actually getting to work with students. I work at the Environmental Education Center in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. So on a day-to-day basis, I help our program run, right? So kids usually in the 5th or 6th grade, sometimes older, sometimes younger, come and spend the night in the national park. So my favorite part is working with the students, doing activities and singing the random camp song with the group.
Awesome. How about another question for Amanda while we still got her?
We have a few more. All right. So how do you become a community helper for a national park? And what Mackenzie's asking if you know if food dehydrators are sustainable.
Could you repeat that question again? About the food dehydrators?
There was a question, I think, about whether or not they're sustainable.
Okay.
And what I know about food dehydrators and being sustainable is that anything that you can do to make, there's my dog in the background, anything that you can do to create food at home, to cook food at home, and to purchase, not buy things that are packaged in single-use plastics, right? So I'm thinking about a food dehydrator, and it reminds me of like beef jerky, fruit roll-ups, things like that, or dried fruits, that if you went to the store and bought it, might be packaged in something that's not sustainable. So the food dehydrator can help you live an earth-friendly lifestyle by making food and making snacks on your own. There was a question, there was another question about how can they be involved? How can students be involved? I put in the chat a link. It says everykidoutdoors.gov. So I want to mention this before I go. If you are a 4th grader, and we may have some 4th graders in the audience, or you know a 4th grader and want to share this with them, if you visit everykidoutdoors.gov, there are some online activities and some in-person activities that you can do to get a free National Parks Pass that is good from now until the end of August. And that's you and anybody in your car, your whole family, can get into any National Park Service site for free. So 4th graders, check out everykidoutdoors.gov, do one of the programs, get your pass. If you are not in the 4th grade, buddy up to your 4th graders, become friends with them, and get out there and enjoy your public lands, because who owns our national parks? We do. Yeah. The national parks belong to everybody in our country. They are yours. They are your places. Visit everykidoutdoors.gov, check out those national parks, become a junior ranger, volunteer, give back when you get old enough and when those opportunities present themselves.
Hey, Amanda, thank you again so much for joining us for year number 2 with us here with Captain ATV. Your information was awesome as usual, and we'll look forward to year number 3 with you. So thank you again so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have our community earth hero, Evan Novell, Sustainability Project Manager with the City of Orlando Solid Waste Division. Evan was awarded Waste 360's 40 Under 40 for 2022. Having been a part of the team that developed, iterated upon, and established Orlando's Chapter 28 mandatory recycling ordinance over the past 4 years, Evan is now working toward bringing effective and affordable recycling to commercial and multifamily properties throughout the city. Today, Evan is talking with us about the importance and best practices of recycling. Let's go now to Evan out in the field to hear more, but be sure to use that Zoom chat if you've got any questions for him, and we'll try to answer a few right after he speaks. Hey, Evan, are you out there?
I'm out here, and I didn't even know that my cat was in the background, but someone just pointed out. He'll be here for the entire portion of this as well. So I'm here. Thanks for the introduction. Same as last year, I'm so excited and astounded really to see the level of knowledge on the part of the captains, the families, the parents, the guardians. And just the level of enthusiasm is very encouraging and reassuring that all the work that myself and some of the other speakers and other people in the sustainability and environmental stewardship realm, the efforts that we're doing are not lost. They're going to be, when it's our time to pass that torch, there's going to be people there to take up that torch, take up that fight, and continue a lot of the good work that we're doing across the country, across the globe, in each of our different areas of specialty. So with that being said, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to teach you guys this year. It seems like you're already well versed, well advanced in recycling and solid waste information, but I'll try my best. I do have a short video that I'll get to a little bit later in my portion of the presentation. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. If you could go to the next slide, please. So I am a solid waste professional. I work for Orlando Solid Waste Department. With that being said, on the periphery of my tasking and duties, I am part of the Orlando Greenworks team, which is just anyone who has anything to do with sustainability at all. So we have people involved in solid waste, wastewater, clean energy, green buildings, livability, all kinds of sustainability areas. Next slide, please. And again, I'm in the solid waste realm of this, so most of what I'll talk about and my area of expertise is solid waste. Next slide. All right, so why is recycling important? We kind of all know that recycling or at least waste is in one way or another bad for the environment, but there are many ways in which recycling is important, right? Landfills are a significant source of greenhouse gases. In 2014, U.S. landfills released 163 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. And I know that number is so superfluous and beyond reasoning, even for people like me who are in the industry. So I'm going to do my best to accommodate that figure in a way that's more easily understandable. So here in the United States, our landfills release enough greenhouse gases where if those greenhouse gases were to be captured and utilized as energy, they would be able to power every single single family home in Florida for 2 years. So all greenhouse gas from our country would be able to power every single family home in Florida for 2 years. So it's a significant source of greenhouse gases, and it's something we definitely can't ignore. Furthermore, plastics do not decompose naturally. We like to put a lifespan on plastics and other materials when they go to the landfill, but the reality is that plastic does not decompose. It does break down, but only under very specific laboratory settings does plastic actually decompose. So what happens is it'll sit in the landfill and it will break down into smaller and smaller pieces. We've all heard of, or most likely we've all heard of the term microplastics. These are just the result of what we're talking about, right? Plastics sit in the landfill, or they make their way into our large bodies of water, and they break down into microplastics. And these end up inevitably, we end up ingesting them, or other animals ingesting them. And they make their way into our sources of water, and we don't want that, right? We want to avoid that as much as possible. And lastly, recycled materials are a commodity, which is just a fancy way of saying that recycled materials have value, right? A monetary value. They have an actual dollar value associated with them. So in any way that we can recycle a particular item, it's going to save us money. It's gonna save the environment, protect the environment in the long term. So it's a very real value. A very real dollar value can be assigned to a lot of these materials, and that changes from month to month, right? Those of us in the recycling industry, we keep track of this, and it dictates a lot of how recycling works from month to month, from year to year. Next slide, please. All right, so there's been so much talk for this particular iteration of Earth Day that I don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this. You guys have talked about the 3 R's, even the 4 R's. Depending on where you come from, where you go to school, there might even be a 5th R or sometimes a 6th R. But the 3 main ones are reduce, reuse, and recycle. I'm in the recycling industry. It's what pays my bills. It's what I'm passionate about. but I would be a fool if I thought that recycling was the end all be all for sustainability. Matter of fact, it's not even our first line of defense. It's actually our last line of defense before the landfill, or almost the last line of defense. And technically incineration and waste to energy come into play there, but those are not the best options. Recycling is technically our last best defense for sustainability when it comes to items that can be recycled. So reuse, always preferable over recycling. So many items such as clothing and books can be donated. Backyard composting is an excellent way to reuse leftover food. If you live in the city of Orlando, I'm not sure where everyone's joining us from, but if you live in city of Orlando, we do have a commercial food waste program. We also have food waste drop-off locations, and we can offer a free composter to any single family home that's within city limits. So we have many different sustainability strategies that all work towards our zero waste to the landfill goal and help us divert waste from our landfills. Reduce, this is another good one. Prioritize items with less packaging, print two-sided, use electronic mail, avoid disposable items. All city facilities in Orlando have banned single-use plastics. So if you ever go to a city facility or even one of our venues, the Amalie Arena, for example, where you can see the Magic player or maybe a concert, you'll never find single-use plastics there. We don't allow them at our facilities anymore. There was some talk about refuse. This is what we in the industry like to call agency, which is, again, another fancy way to say the ability to make impactful decisions, the ability to make decisions that actually matter, that allow you to have that sense of fulfillment and contribution to being an environmental steward. So whenever you're out there, if you see items that maybe are not in the best interest of us and the environment, you can refuse to use or purchase or consume them. Next slide, please. All right, so this is kind of my bread and butter. This is what I love talking about. Believe it or not, the idea of what can or cannot be recycled does not change much from one city to another, one state to one country to another. It's very robust and a healthy system, recycling, right? A lot of times people think that it's broken or fragile, and in some ways it is, but overall it's a pretty well-established system. In fact, it's so well-established that a lot of people don't like talking about it anymore because it's just ingrained in our daily operation. But with that being said, it is still incredibly important. So real quick, the items that are typically recyclable are your metals, your aluminums, aluminum cans, aluminum, steel, and tin cans, paper products, so that's food and beverage cartons, newspaper, magazines, and mail, glass, to include bottles and jars, cardboard, one of the most important staples in recycling, cereal boxes and flattened cardboard. Flattened is the key word here. Cardboard is a very valuable material, but when you're disposing of it, make sure it's flattened, right? Go ahead and type in the chat if you like birthdays, holidays, presents. Anyone like those types of things? Getting gifts? Yes, everyone does. Who doesn't, right? A lot of those come in boxes, right? Where we live in the era of Amazon, where on a daily basis, maybe some of us get Amazon boxes. Fortunately, those are easily recyclable. Unfortunately, a lot of times people don't break those down. They just dispose of them into their recycling container, which is good, but we want those to be broken down as small as possible in order to make it easier for the actual sorting process once it reaches what we call a MRF, a material recovery facility. And then plastics, kitchen, laundry, bath, bottles, and containers. What I like to say is just bottles, tubs, and jugs. Some of the thicker plastic, those are always the plastics that we prioritize. Plastics number 1 and 2, the HDPEs, high density plastics. And then at the bottom here, we can see items that we don't want to recycle. So one of the biggest contaminants in the recycling stream are plastic bags, right? Bagged recycling and then plastic bags by themselves. Whenever you recycle, it's best to deposit your recyclable items loosely in whatever container you have for collection, whether it's a dumpster, a curbside cart, or even a curbside bin, right? We want to dispose of those items in there loosely whenever possible. Styrofoam, technically a plastic, technically recyclable. And this is a big distinction that needs to be made in items that are recyclable and items that are recyclable in your curbside collection, right? We can recycle styrofoam and plastic wrapping and bags, but just not in our curbside recycling. And that's because the facility that processes those materials is unable to process those materials in a way that doesn't actually break down that equipment. So for example, and as we're about to see in the video I have queued up, plastic bags can be very detrimental to the recycling sorting process. And lastly, household garbage, things like diapers, food waste. We don't ever want to see those in recyclable. Technically, they're recyclable, but just in a different way, right? Food can be recycled by or reused, repurposed by placing it in a composter or disposing of it through a food waste program. Next slide, please. So just a couple of frequently asked questions that come up that I like to address. This is one of the best parts of my job, is reassuring people that recycling is a robust and successful program. One of the biggest questions is recycling broken? You know, people often quote National Sword or Green Sword or China. And the truth is that recycling has had a very turbulent or rocky past, especially in the mid to late 2010s, 15 through 18, when most of our recycling used to go to China, and overnight China decided to stop accepting any recycled material that was greater than 1% contaminated, which is almost all recycling. But thankfully, over the past couple of years, recycling has recovered. It's actually doing better than it ever has. A lot of those recycled materials are worth more than they have been in the past, which is great for everyone, those of us in the industry, as well as those of us that are consider ourselves environmental stewards. Another question is, I saw the same garbage truck pick up my recycling, the same garbage truck that picked up my garbage. Does that mean it's just going to the landfill? Well, if you live in a location that utilizes single stream recycling, which means that all recyclable materials go into the same container, right? You may live in a neighborhood where you separate your paper and cardboard from everything else, or maybe your glass from everything else. If you live in an area where you can put it all into the same container, we use the same trucks to pick up garbage and recycling. We're just running different routes. So you may see a garbage truck come by and pick up your garbage, and then later in the day, or maybe another day, it comes and picks up your recycling. Rest assured that your recycling is being recycled. Yeah, next question is, why aren't plastic bags recyclable? The answer, the long answer is that they are recyclable, but not in your curbside recycling. So you can take these items frequently to a grocery store. I'm technically not allowed to name names, but frequently your grocery stores or other shopping centers will have kiosks set up in the lobby or entrance area where you can bring things like your plastic bags or styrofoam and recycle those there. They will do it for you. What should I do if I'm not sure whether or not an item is recyclable? Do your research if you can. If you absolutely cannot find out whether an item is recyclable or not, we have a motto, which is, when in doubt, throw it out. Obviously, we want to see as much recyclable material go into recycling as possible, but if you are unsure, it's best to dispose of it in the garbage so that it doesn't become a contaminant in that load of recyclable material. What happens to my recycling after it's picked up? The good news is that I have an awesome video that showcases what recycling looks like once we dispose of it, right? It's almost like we put garbage and we put recycling inside of a can or a dumpster, and then it's almost as if a ferry comes overnight and takes it away. But the reality is that there's an actual process, a very elaborate and involved process that happens after recyclable materials leave our hands. And if we can go ahead and play that video, I'm excited to see how everyone responds to it.
The original materials recovery processing facility opened in 1990. Due to maintenance and operating costs, this facility currently serves as a transfer station for recyclables. Once recyclables are dropped off, they are inspected for contamination and then transported for processing to the Waste Management Materials Recovery Facility located in Cocoa Beach. Recyclables are dropped off at the Materials Recovery Facility to be sorted and prepared for remanufacturing. First, they are dumped on the facility's floor, then loaded into a conveyor belt to begin the sorting process. Workers remove any visible non-recyclables. Afterwards, all of the recyclables fall into a machine with star-shaped wheels that float the cardboard and paper, while heavier materials fall to a lower floor. Additional workers separate paper by hand before the rest of the recyclables are moved onto an area that uses vibrations and air to further process the materials. From here, glass is crushed and separated into a storage area. Plastic and metal materials move on to the next stage. Metal cans are separated from the remaining materials using a strong magnet, and plastics are identified using optical sorters. Optical sorters are lasers that can identify the type of plastic resin that makes up the material. Once the type of plastic is identified, a puff of air will separate it and send it into a separate area of the facility. Finally, aluminum cans are magnetized by an eddy current, a type of electrical current, and sent into another area of the facility. After all the materials have been separated by type, they are crushed into bales and sent to recycling plants for remanufacturing into new materials.
All right, excellent. I hope that was informative. I do get a lot of questions, especially from kids and youth, about what that process looks like, and it's kind of hard to describe. Honestly, it's best to watch a video. There's millions and millions of dollars worth of heavily sophisticated equipment that these MRFs, these material recovery facilities, utilize in order to sort that material. So that's what I mean when I say it's a very robust process. It's very sophisticated. And even if contamination does come into that facility, it does a very good job of separating that highly valuable material from what we consider as garbage. What if I want to recycle, but my apartment or condo doesn't offer it? Well, the good news is that in Orlando, as of April 1st of next year, all apartments and condominiums, all multifamily properties and commercial properties will be required to offer recycling. And this is something that's catching on throughout the country. Orlando is certainly not the first to implement something like this. We won't be the last. So the more municipalities that come on board with stuff like this, the more it's going to spread, the more it's going to catch on, and the better all of our futures will be for it. Are there other options for recycling? I often get questions about textiles or electronics. There are, however, the best option is to again do your research, look for what's near you. Orlando is fortunate to have a What Goes Where app, or we call it Orlando Collects or Recollect. You can enter any item on this app and it will tell you how to dispose of it. If you can't dispose of it in your collection, in either your garbage or recycling curbside collection, it will give you options for where to take it. It might be take it to a hazardous household waste facility. Or it might list any other option for example, scrap metal or electronics or textiles. Next slide, please. So that's it for me. I understand there might be a couple questions, so I'd be happy to answer any of those. This is my contact information. If you don't get your question answered today, please feel free to reach out to me. It's Friday, so I will not be in the office tomorrow, but if you email me or give me a call, I'd be happy to get back to you.
Hey, Magnificent Maury, we might have time for one quick question for Evan. Is there one out there?
We sure do. So we have, and this is by Miss Amanda Schroeder. She has a question about how do you define contaminated? She works with so many students that sometimes recycling makes it into the bin that has not been perfectly cleaned.
Excellent question. So contamination is what constitutes contamination can change from one hauler to the next. Haulers are basically the people that are picking up your recycling and transferring it. So, for example, when we pick up your recycling, we take it to a transfer station before it even gets to that MRF, that material recovery facility. And what happens is we tip it onto a floor, and depending on what facility you take it to, it might be a person that gauges that material by eyesight. It might be another piece of sophisticated equipment, but basically we assign a value to the level of contamination on that particular load. So again, for example, the facility we take our recycling to, they have a threshold or a maximum amount of 30% contamination. So if, let's say, our truck pulls up and it drops our recycled material on the floor, if someone says, hey, this looks like this constitutes 40% contaminated, that load is actually too contaminated to go through that sorting process, and it has to be reloaded into another truck and taken to the landfill. So that's why our drivers, all of our staff, our refuse collectors, our drivers, our project managers, everyone works together to stop that from happening, before it happens. So we use education. Our drivers, when they're picking up dumpsters, they'll look inside the dumpster as they're picking it up to make sure there's no heavy contaminants in there. Other ways to determine contamination are just general knowledge of what can or can't be recycled in a particular area. So for us, if we look into a container and there's plastic bags in there, that counts as a contaminant. The good thing is that not all contaminants will to ruin the contribution or the efforts of everyone else. So a lot of questions I get from some of our residential customers are, I recycle appropriately, but I notice that my neighbor does not recycle or doesn't recycle appropriately. The good news is that you have to remember you're just one stop along a route, right? So as long as you're doing your part, if maybe one or two other people aren't the best recyclers, your efforts are not going to be hindered. They're still beneficial. We still appreciate, your contribution to recycling and your effort to recycle appropriately. Hopefully that answers your question, Amanda. I know it was a long-winded one, but hopefully that answers it.
Oh, and we need to know. I mean, it's so much, and I know I've thrown away a couple pizza boxes over the years, and it's tough. You never know what's contaminated and what's not. So, Evan, thank you so much for all the work you do in the city of Orlando and joining the Captain ATV again, the TV team again for the second year. We really appreciate your time and all the efforts you do for the city of Orlando. The work you do is absolutely amazing.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you once again.
All right, folks, next, what a better way to wrap up the night than to hear from one of the Earth's biggest advocates, Dr. Jane Goodall, founder of the Jane Goodall Institute and UN Messenger of Peace. She is well known for her studies of wild chimpanzees. She is also an ethologist, a conversationalist, and a champion of human rights. Now let's hear from the incredible Dr. Jane Goodall herself.
Hello, today's Earth Day. It's a day to think about the planet, Mother Earth. I'm sure that all of you have seen photos of planet Earth shot from space, a small green and blue globe surrounded by the cold, black immensity of space. What is so wonderful about this little planet of ours is that during the millions of years of evolution, it supports such a rich variety of life forms, from microscopic bacteria and algae to whales and elephants and the giant redwoods. There are some species that live in the earth, such as earthworms and naked mole rats, others that fly, like butterflies and beetles and birds and bats. Some spend all or almost all their time in the trees, like sloths and gallegos and spider monkeys. Some move ever so slowly across the land, like tortoises, while others, like cheetahs, can run really fast. Then there are all those who spend their entire lives in the water, the corals and fish and whales. whilst others, like otters and penguins, spend time on land but are really good swimmers. Then think about the hundreds and thousands of plants and trees and fungi and ferns. What an amazing tapestry of living things. We humans are just one species, but oh dear, our footprint on the planet is gigantic. This wasn't so all those years ago when we were just hunter-gatherers. But the one difference between us and all the other creatures is that we developed an oversized brain. Probably because we had no natural defenses and we had to compete with fierce predators that roamed the country back then. From that time on, we had an increasing advantage over other animals. Then came the agricultural revolution, and humans were able to settle in one place and populations began to grow. Next came the Industrial Revolution, and from then on our impact has become ever more destructive. You all know the problems we face today, and these include climate change, loss of biodiversity, and of course the COVID pandemic. Well, we only have ourselves to blame, because for years humans have shown so little respect for the natural world and animals. We've destroyed forests and other ecosystems. We've polluted land, air, and water with agricultural, industrial, and household waste, much of it full of toxic chemicals. We've burned increasing amounts of fossil fuel, and this has created massive amounts of the most prevalent greenhouse gas, CO2. And it's those gases that form a sort of blanket around the globe, trapping the heat of the sun, leading to global warming. We've killed wild animals for food, clothing, pets, and sport. Yes, sport. Trafficked them around the world, crowded wild animals into tiny, unhygienic spaces in wildlife markets, and crowded domestic animals into horrendous factory farms. And all these have created conditions that make it relatively easy for a pathogen such as a virus to spill over from an animal to a person, where it may create a new disease such as COVID-19. I cannot send out this message without reference to Putin's war in Ukraine. The scale of human and animal suffering is horrendous and heartbreaking. But think also of the harm to the environment caused by the emissions from tanks and planes and bombs and all the rest of it. Today, Earth Day, is a time for all of us to think about how we as individuals can help this precious blue and green planet. What each one of us can do to help. Today, more people are aware how everything is interconnected, and that we need to alleviate poverty because the poor will destroy the environment just to create more cleared land for growing food or making money from charcoal or timber, buy the cheapest food because they can't afford to ask if making it harmed the environment or is cheap because of unfair wages or horrible cruelty to animals. We need to reduce the unsustainable lifestyles of the rest of us and learn to recycle and reuse. And we must, through consumer pressure, persuade businesses to operate in ways that are socially and environmentally ethical, rather than carry on with business as usual. More people are beginning to understand that long-term protection of the environment and indigenous cultures is more important than short-term profit. And we must do anything we can to encourage our governments to heal the widening gap between the haves and the have-nots. Because this inequality leads to violence and hatred. On this day, We should think about the communities of plants and animals with whom we share or should share the planet, and all that we have done to harm them. But more importantly, let's think about what we can do to protect and restore. The Jane Goodall Institutes around the world are working to protect chimps and other wildlife and environments, and also helping local disadvantaged communities to find ways of living without destroying their environment, then giving them the tools to monitor and protect the health of the natural world around them. They understand that this is not only to protect biodiversity and wildlife, but for their own future, so they become our partners in conservation. And more people are understanding the One Health idea, that our human health is closely related to the health of the local environment and that of the wild and domestic animals who live there. We all depend on the health of all. Our Roots and Shoots members, hundreds and thousands of them of all ages in over 60 countries, are working on projects of their choice to make the world better for this interconnected world, people, animals, and the environment. I think there will be a lot of tree planting and programs to restore and protect forests around the world. Many people will be volunteering in shelters for homeless animals, doing projects to raise money for a whole variety of causes. Some people are determined to move towards a plant-based diet. Some are supporting restorative agriculture, permaculture, and so on. And around the globe, there will be prayers for the suffering of the Ukrainians and all the others suffering underprivileged people, and for the animals around the world. And there will be volunteers rolling up their sleeves and helping where they can. So although the overall picture seems overwhelmingly grim, that simply means we must all get together, roll up our sleeves, and each do our bit to help heal our planet. And we must get together now before it's utterly too late. There's one thing I want to beg of everyone who watches this. Don't help planet Earth on this one Earth Day only. It is so important to do something to help every day, even the smallest things. And don't forget that millions of small things cumulatively lead to major change. And finally, do let us know what you do for Earth Day and your plans to make every day Earth Day, so that we can share the cumulative benefits of everything that we do with our community. Thank you all, and have a productive and wonderful Earth Day.
Wow, some powerful words from Dr. Jane Goodall. We couldn't have thought of a better way to bring our celebration to a close. To learn more about and donate to the Jane Goodall Institute, be sure to visit janegoodall.org. Again, great job to our kid correspondents today. If any of you would like to join Captain ATV Ambassadors team, please email us at captainatv@gmail.com or message us on social media channels. We want to thank all of you for joining us today. Please be sure to follow us and continue to learn more and grow together. Thank you to Captain A, Captain SySy, and all their Captain ATV correspondents. Thank you to the magnificent Maury for helping cover the chat today. Thank you to Frank Borden and his amazing video work and helping navigate the presentation today behind the scenes. And thank you to our special guest speakers. You change makers are helping make a difference. Now you know what time it is. All of you can do it. So please do it with us here today. Are you ready for it?